For me, one of the things that makes Barbie movies and shows so fun is the merchandise. Being able to get dolls of your favorite characters is not only fun for collectors, but it's fun for kids to be able to recreate their favorite scenes and bring these movies to life. I remember getting my Erica doll for Christmas, and my sister got Annalise. I later got Dominic too, but was always disappointed that there was no Julian doll. How are we supposed to recreate the double wedding? It was such a disappointing thing for a little kid, and I'm still sad. So there are definitely some disappointments that come along with this merchandise. And there are a lot of characters who really should have been made into dolls, but for one reason or another, just weren't. Some of this will be my own opinion, but I also opened it up to you guys on Instagram and just asked you, who are some characters that you would have liked to see as dolls? So let's get started. As I mentioned before, I think one of the biggest disappointments for Barbie fans was the lack of Julian in the Princess and the Pauper merchandise. So as I briefly mentioned, they released a King Dominic doll, and he came with a set of extra clothes so that he could be Julian too, rather than Mattel releasing a separate Julian doll. I mean, at least this was something, right? But I still find myself disappointed. It almost seems like it's just one of Dominic's disguises.
You do love disguises, don't you?
Now, just to be clear, Mattel did release a Julian doll, but he was only available in the rare wedding gift set with Annalise. So if you were like me and you got all your dolls and all their wedding clothes separate, then it made no sense to buy this set. And I honestly didn't even know about it until recently, so there's no chance I would have been able to get this when it was in stores. And the thing that bothers me about this doll is not only how rare he is, but that he really doesn't even look like Julian. He is basically a copy of the King Dominic doll, but with blonde hair. Like yellow blonde hair. I mean, clearly Julian's hair is lighter than Dominic's, but I wouldn't say it's yellow blonde. I think it's more of a light brown. I don't know why, but Mattel released a few of their early Prince dolls with yellow blonde hair when none of them were even blonde. The other thing that bothers me is that his hair isn't in a ponytail like it is in the film. It's cut exactly like Dominic's. The closest thing we've got to an accurate Julian doll is in the Princess and the Pauper illustrations that are found in the Junior novelization and the panoramic sticker book. Here, Julian is shown with his light brown hair and a ponytail, plus he has a different face than Dominic, looking a bit more like Blaine. So honestly, if they put this doll on the shelves, I would have bought like 4. I actually want to make my own custom Julian doll to look just like this one, so hopefully I can do that one day. I think that from a business standpoint, Mattel might not have seen Julian as marketable. I mean, the only doll of him came with Annalise, clearly showing that they didn't think he'd sell on his own. And I understand how they would feel because it costs a lot of money to create dolls. So I think that they produced Julian in the way that made the most sense to them, by reusing the same molds as Dominic and by selling his clothes with Dominic. So at least they acknowledged him and tried to produce him, even if the way they did it made us all really sad. I think we can all agree that we love Dominic and are happy that he got a doll, but we also love Julian, and he deserved to be released as his own doll too. He just deserves the world, and I love him, but I also get what Mattel did. So I'm gonna be honest, I didn't know that there was no Isla doll until you guys brought it up in the comments on a few of my videos. By the time Princess Charm School came out, I was kind of entering into my phase of being more of a collector than someone playing with toys. I still enjoyed a game of dolls here and there, but the only thing I got in the Charm School collection was the playset that folded into a backpack, because it was a throwback to the 1990s set. I didn't even look at the dolls in that line until recently. And so when I found out that there was no Isla, it actually made me super sad. She's a great character and so sweet. I also love her look, and she would have made an adorable doll. Now, not only is Isla not available as a doll, but she doesn't appear on the DVD cover and is not seen in most promotional images. Now, a few of you guys mentioned that Isla had actually been a last-minute introduction into the movie. I did some research on this and I had a hard time finding anything official to back that up, but I did see on multiple sites like BarbieMovies.fandom.com and FanPop.com that a few people have said some things about this. One person said, Zeke Norton, the director of the movie, said himself that usually they make the merchandise before the movie itself is released. In this case, there was a slight change in the cast last minute, replacing Delancey with Isla. Since they've already made the toys based on the original plot, they didn't have time to add Isla. Another person said the original story didn't include Isla, her role was supposed to be Delancey's. That's also why Delancey was described in the back cover of the DVD as one of Blair's friends. They simply did not have enough time to fix that. BarbieMovies.fandom.com said Harmony, Isla's sprite, has a doll. Harmony may have originally been Delancey's sprite, so it's pretty clear that Isla did replace Delancey in the role of Blair's friend. I couldn't find an interview with Zeke himself or anything, so if you know where to find him talking about this, then let me know. I'd love to see it. Even though I didn't see anything official, it makes perfect sense. Doll lines have to be worked on years in advance before they are released. For movie dolls, I think it's usually about a year in advance, maybe longer from what I've seen. So adding Isla in while the toy line had already been produced left no time to make her into a doll. Once they designed her, created molds, redesigned all the packaging, shipped her, and all the other steps that go into creating toys. Plus, it would have increased costs. So while I didn't create a doll of her, I understand why, and I'm glad that she was at least added into the movie as a character. Hadley and Isla on DeviantArt created a custom Isla doll, showing us what she might have looked like had they made her. I think she would have been really cute. So if you're like me, you were obsessed with Barbie Life in the Dream House when it came out. I remember wishing they'd make dolls of the characters, and when they finally did, I got Barbie and later Raquel. But I recently decided that I wanted a Ryan doll because he's my absolute favorite Life in the Dream House character. And I searched eBay and nothing came up. So I googled it and I actually couldn't find anything. How disappointing is that? There is no Ryan doll. I mean, there are Ryan dolls from other lines, but no doll of him from Life in the Dream House. I'm not sure why they never made one. Maybe they didn't think he was marketable. Maybe they didn't want to outsell Ken. Maybe they didn't think the world was ready for such a powerful icon to be released as a doll. Mattel, if you're listening, we want a Ryan doll. We can handle it now. The world is ready. I guess the closest we'll get to seeing a Ryan doll is looking at these custom dolls on Flickr. Also, what the heck is up with this family tree? Do you know what I love? Barbie and the Pink Shoes. Do you know what I don't love? The toys from Barbie and the Pink Shoes. Not cool. I didn't buy a single one. I'm not real big on the transformation dolls and dolls whose clothes aren't changeable, but that's another story. I wish they would have made a doll of Haley. She's so cute, and a doll with her haircut would have been so unique. Also, Hilarion and Albrecht, I love those guys. Dolls of them would have made my life. I'll just forever be disappointed by this doll line. I love the characters and their designs in Barbie and A Christmas Carol. I mean, that 2008 holiday Barbie will forever be iconic. But I would have loved to see a Catherine doll. I mean, her hair and her dress are beautiful. Plus, she's such a sweet person. I would love a doll of her. And at least whoever submitted this confession agrees. I'm still wondering why they never made her. She's a pretty important character in the movie and she would have been beautiful. I also always love the Ghost of Christmas Past. I don't know why, I just think she's super cute. I would have loved a doll of her, like a Skipper-sized doll, not this little Kelly. That would have been adorable. Also, the twins would have been super cute too, and Tammy, and I wish they would have kept the tight curls for Eden's hair. And her nightgown, imagine if they released a doll version of that. Or the sleigh they ride off in. Come on, this line is lacking, and there was so much potential. Okay, so most of the Instagram responses you guys sent said you'd love to see more villain dolls. I totally get that. I remember playing with my fairy tale collection Rapunzel doll as a kid, and the best I could do for a Gothel was dressing a random doll in a black dress and black boots. I mean, it gave me a chance to use my imagination, but I still would have loved to see an official Gothel doll. And maybe not even Gothel, but a lot of you guys mentioned Henna from Mariposa. I mean, look at her. She would have been an amazing doll. The purple hair, the unique outfit, she would have been a baddie. I would love to see a doll with that evil look on her face. Another one you guys mentioned was Rowena. She would have been great. I would have loved to see that dress and that hair in doll form. Here's a similar doll that kind of gives me Rowena vibes. She's from the book Secret of the Three Teardrops. Other villains that would have been amazing dolls would be Laverna, Eris, Odile, and of course Preminger. We have suffered for so long without a Preminger doll. The closest thing we have to a doll of Premi is in the Princess and the Pauper illustrations, and he looks amazing. They also made a Madame Carp doll for these books, which I find super funny. Mattel did release a Raquel doll for the Barbie Diaries, so there's proof that villain dolls do have potential to sell. I mean, clearly there are dolls no one would buy, like the Mouse King or whatever. But if Mattel could make this scary AF Captain Hook doll, then I think they can release some villain dolls. I love the show Barbie Dreamhouse Adventures. They released a few dolls like Barbie, Daisy, Ken, and so on. But I would really love to see Teresa and Renee. Not only them, but Barbie's parents. I think Margaret and Robert would be adorable dolls. After over 60 years, Barbie's parents definitely need to be released in doll form. A few promotional images featuring Teresa and Renee as dolls have been seen, so hopefully they will be released as dolls in the near future. A few other characters I would have loved to have seen as dolls are Marie, Kevin, and Ken from Barbie: A Fairy Secret. I mean, just imagine a Ken doll with those tiny pink wings. One of you on Instagram also mentioned Rose Mom. She would have been a beautiful doll. So, were there any characters I missed that you'd like to see some dolls of? I think that with the Barbie universe being so expansive, there are tons of missed opportunities. But I get it, Mattel has to make smart business decisions and will really only bank on dolls that they know will sell. Otherwise, it would be a huge loss of profits. But still, I really wish they would have made these characters into dolls. Thanks for watching, and thanks to all of you who voted in my poll here on YouTube and sent in responses on Instagram. You can follow me on Instagram at 1959.barbie, and I hope you have a great day. You know, as collectors and movie fans, it can be disappointing to look at the lines and think of all the things we wish they would have made. But if you look at it from Mattel's perspective, a lot of it makes good sense because they're not going to manufacture something that they don't think will sell. Like for the villains, if you're a kid and you go to the store to pick out a Fairytopia doll and you see Alina or Laverna, I think you're going to be more likely to pick Alina. So Mattel really would only manufacture stuff that they think will sell. It is kind of sad though, because I feel like the older lines had a lot more to them. Like the Swan Lake line, you had like the characters, you had all the Kelly dolls, you had plush toys and play sets, and I felt like the older ones kind of went on. Like the Princess and the Pauper, they had like sportswear and party stuff, but like the Pink Shoes line had maybe 4 dolls in it. So I think when these movies were at the top of their game, they were making a lot more for the sets. I mean, you look at Christmas Carol, there's not really much to that collection, and I think it's just because that movie wasn't maybe so much of a hit. I think it's kind of forgotten. And so I think they can kind of tell ahead of time how well a movie's going to do. Like Princess Charm School came out a little bit later, but there was quite a bit in that line. And so I think they just kind of judge what they think will do well. And I mean, it's disappointing, but I get where they're coming from. And I mean, they did their best, and a lot of the merchandise is really good. And we're really lucky. There's not a lot of movies that have Barbie dolls that go to them. So I think it's just really cool what we do have, and it's fun to collect and fun to see. And I think we're really lucky. So I'm glad for what Mattel was able to do.